you right again? Yeah. We're ready to move into the ordinary part of the council meeting. What's the first recommendation? 7.3. So, okay, so we've got item 7.3, to delegate to the mayor and in the mayor's absence, the deputy mayor, the powers and authorities, duties, functions of the council listed in the instrument of delegation contained in Annex 1, subject to the limitations listed in the instrument of delegation. Revoke all previous delegations to the mayor and deputy mayor. I have a move. Move Councillor Black. Seconded Councillor Hope. All those in favour? Oh, sorry, did you want to speak to any of that?
No, thank you.
Did you want to speak to it, Councillor? All those in favour? Carried. Item 7.4, casual vacancy in the office of councillor. The recommendation is that council note the casual vacancy in office created. No, it's not there. So that's not there. Okay, well, we haven't got that, so we'll go to 7.5. Right to go to 7.5. Item 7.5, recommendation that council discontinue the service delivery review group and repeal the terms of reference adopted 28th of June 2017. Discontinue the project control working or recreation group and repeal the terms of reference adopted on 26th of September 2018. 3, appoint the following councillors as delegates and alternate delegates to the following committees of the council for the remainder of term of council. Is that where the council wants to go, or are we looking to put that off until next meeting?
Mr Mayor, I think there was discussion earlier on that there hasn't been a lot of time to actually put our thoughts to this document, that we defer it until the October meeting.
So is that moved?
Yeah, I'm moving that here.
The motion is that we defer the delegation of the committees until the next first meeting in October. It's moved Councillor Webster. Is there a seconder for that?
Yes.
Councillor Cudmore, seconded. Do you wish to speak to it, Councillor? Councillor Cudmore?
No.
If not, all those in favour? I'll declare it carried. Item 7.6, a recommendation that council determine the composition of the general manager's performance review panel for the 2020-2021 period to consist of the mayor, deputy mayor and a councillor, or a councillor nominated by council. Yeah. Are we happy to defer that as well? Or do we want to do that now?
Mr Mayor, I'd like to deal with it now. It's in the business papers, so rather than defer.
Okay,
So I can't speak your mic's on, Mr Mayor.
So go for it now.
So Mr Mayor, I'd like to move that we delegate the councillor from the council and that the general manager nominate her councillor for that performance review committee.
Okay, so that's moved by Councillor Miles. Is there a seconder? Seconded, Councillor Logsy. All those in favour? Those against? Carried. Carried. Okay, so, is there a councillor nominated for that, or someone want to nominate a councillor?
Yeah, I'd like to nominate Councillor Carpenter as deputy mayor. I'd like to nominate Councillor Black to be one of the members, if Councillor Black's willing to accept.
Councillor Black?
Yes, I'm willing to accept, thank you.
So is there anyone against that, or is there a seconder for that? If not, I'll declare Councillor Black on that committee. Have you got one? So the GM has nominated Councillor Lobsey to go on that committee. You accept that, Councillor Lobsey?
So, yes.
Is there a seconder for that?
I've got a second, Mr. Mayor.
Seconded Councillor Miles. All those in favour? Carried. Seven point seven. Okay, I've got 7.7 Code of Conduct and Procedures for the Administration of the Code of Conduct. That council pursuant to section 443 of the Local Government Act 1993 and clause 180-1 of the Local Government General Regulation 2005, adopt the draft Code of Conduct contained at Annex 2, repeal the Code of Conduct adopted on 26th of June 2019, pursuant to section 440A(3) of the Local Government Act 1993 and clause 181 of the Local Government Act in General, Regulation 2005, adopt the draft procedures for the administration of the Code of Conduct contained in Annexure 3, repeal the procedures of the administration of the Code of Conduct adopted on the 29th of May 2019. So do I have a mover for that? Moved Councillor Webster, seconded Councillor Hope. All those in favour? Carried. Seven point eight, Executive Area Works Report. The recommendation is that council receive and note the Executive Area Works Report. Do I have a mover for that?
I'll move.
Moved Councillor Lobsey. Is there a seconder? Councillor Cudmore. All those in favour? Can I just have that show of hands again, please, for those in favour? Carried. 7.9, that council receive and note the Executive Area Work Report and the investments of August 2020. Have someone moved that?
Yep.
Moved Councillor Webster, a seconder. Councillor Black. Do you wish to speak to it, Councillor Webster?
No, thank you.
Councillor Black?
No, thank you.
I'll declare it carried. Seven point 10, section 356, request for financial assistance from Rotary Club of Corindai. The recommendation reads that council receive and note the correspondence from the Rotary Club of Corindai contained in Annexure 1 and refer the correspondence to the General Manager for response.
Happy to move that, Mr. Mayor.
Move Councillor Miles. Is there a seconder? Councillor Webster. Did you wish to speak to it, Councillor
No,
Miles?
thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Councillor Webster.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Mayor. I'm just not sure of what the response is going to be. Are we supporting, or is it going to be sort of looked at as far as the rate reduction goes, or?
So, yeah, it absolutely will be looked at, pending a workshop with the councillors to consider.
Right, so there's no determination today?
No.
Thank you.
We have Could I have a show of hands on that as to carried? Item 7.11, water supply status. Recommendation reads that council receive and note the water supply status report. I will move for that. Move Councillor Black, seconder. Councillor Miles, did you wish to speak to it, Councillor Black?
No, thank you, Mr Mayor.
Councillor Miles,
No, thank you, Mr Mayor.
I'll put the motion. Those in favour? I declare that carried. Item 7.12, tender for provision of wet and dry plant and equipment hire rates. Tender number SPT 052021 LPSC. To receive and note the water supply status report. Have a mover? Oh, that was that other one, was it? Sorry. My apologies. The recommendation that council approve all tenders received for tender number SPT 052021 LPSC as suppliers for the provision of plant and equipment hire for the period 1st of October 2020 to the 30th of June 2023. That provision be allowed for a 12-month extension of tender number SPT 052021 LPSC. Do I have a mover?
Yeah.
Move Councillor Webster, seconded Councillor Black. Did you wish to speak to it,
Mr
Councillor
Mayor,
Webster?
can I just ask, is J.R. Richards was a late tender, are they included in that?
Yes. So in answer to your question, Councillor Loxley, they are included, all those listed there are included in the panel.
Yes, see, late tender, right.
Are those in favour?
Yeah.
I declare that carried. Item 7.13, the recommendation that council receive and note the report and disperse 16,000 from the Liverpool Shire Council Global Heritage Fund 2020-2021 via the following grants. From item A, B through to C. I have a mover for that?
Yep.
Move Councillor Webster, a seconder. Councillor Cudmore. Go again. My apologies, councillors, I didn't read the bottom paragraph. The council and item C of that, council waiver the associated heritage exemption certificate application fee under council's adopted fees and charges policy in respect of items B 1-K inclusive.
Could I ask?
Absolutely.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Could I just ask what sort of precedents has been set here before with these heritage items if we normally waive these fees? I'm just worried about opening a can of worms about doing away with fees when we've already set a budget. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Mr Mayor, through the General Manager, item C is a standing item each year that we can consider the Heritage Assistance Fund. We do have a budget allocation for this purpose, and it's seen as a further incentive for property owners to participate in the program, so there will be no negative or deleterious impact on our budget.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Thank you, Ms Osborne.
If everyone's satisfied with that, I'll put the motion. All those in favour?
Yeah.
I declare that carried. Item 7.14, Engineering and Directorate Report, September 2020. The recommendation is that Council receive and note the Engineering Directorate Report for September 2020. I have a movement.
I'll move it.
Councillor Logsy, seconded Councillor Webster. You wish to speak to it, Councillor Logsy?
No.
Councillor Webster?
Thanks, Mr Mayor. Just a question on the completed reports, Grindon West Creek swimming pool condition assessments. I just wonder whether we can have those tabled at the next council meeting. It's been quite controversial over the past 12 months of reclosing pools and everything else in the community, and I would have thought that if there's a lot of money to be spent on either of the pools, that we probably should have a heads up on them.
Thank you, Councillor Webster. As you rightly pointed out, there has been a lot of community interest and there has been no consideration of the closure of the pools to date. However, there will be a full briefing provided to Council regarding the engineers' reports that have been provided and the ability for councillors to ask questions. Thanks.
Sorry, is that at the next meeting?
We are just trying to organise, once we have the election results, to be able to organise a time for a briefing for councillors once we've received and we have, as a senior management team, had a chance to read them in their entirety yet, and then we're going to have a workshop for council.
Thank you.
There's no more questions. I'll put the motion. Those in favour? I'll declare it carried. 7.15, the reduction of user fees for sports grounds due to the COVID-19. Do I have a mover for that?
Happy to move it, Mr Mayor.
Move Councillor Miles, a seconder. Councillor Cudmore. Did you wish to speak to it, Councillor Miles?
Mr Mayor, I only to say these are precedented times and the sporting groups have been impacted, and I think a 50% reduction in their fees is warranted. I don't agree with a complete reduction, so I think there's been a lot of thought going into this report, so I'm quite happy to support the recommendation. Thank you, Mr Mayor. Hard to say, unprecedented.
And is there anything to add to that? Councillor Black?
Considering that council only gets a 30% cost recovery basis, what that means is that they're only going to get 15% cost recovery basis. What sort of an impact is that going to have on our budget?
We can give a more detailed briefing to council when we do our first quarter review budget process about where we stand in terms of the collection of rates, user charges and fees, but most, if not all of our sporting clubs have either cancelled all of their activities or only used a small portion of their allocated time.
If there's no other questions, I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Declare it carried. 7.16. Item 7.16, Environmental and Economic Development Services Works. Recommendation that Council receive and note the Environmental and Economic Development Services Works Report. I have a mover. Councillor Miles, seconder. Councillor Black. You wish to speak to it, Councillor Miles?
No, thank you, Mr Mayor.
Councillor Black?
No, thank you.
If not, I'll put the motion. Those in favour? I declare that carried. Item 7.17, Waste Management Strategy Implementation. The recommendation that Council receive and note the progress of the Waste Management Strategy.
Move.
Move Councillor Black, seconder, Councillor Lobsey. Did you wish to speak to it, Councillor Black?
No, thank you, Mr Mayor.
Councillor Lobsey?
No, thank you.
If not, I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Sorry.
Yeah, Mayor, could I just ask a question of the GM? In the conclusion, it says investigation has shown that the site is suitable for the construction of the new landfill. But in issues and comments, there's some constraints, geotech, noise and all the other things. Am I reading that wrong, or are you saying it's passed all its tests, but it's not?
I'll refer to the Director of Engineering, Nathan.
Moving through, so the site has been found feasible. There are obviously further design works to be done to confirm how the construction will take place, but there is no impediment to using it as a waste facility. So that the capture and control of leachate from the waste is capable of being handled on site. So there's still further works to be done, but it is still a feasible site in the first pass. But does that answer your question, Councillor?
Thanks.
There's no other questions, I'll put the motion. Those in favour? I'll declare it carried. I'll declare that carried. 7.18. Item 7.18, recreation strategy implementation. That council receive and note the update on the recreation strategy. Over mover.
Have a move, Mr Mayor.
Moved Councillor Miles, seconder. Councillor Hope. Wish to speak to it, Councillor Miles?
No, Mr Mayor.
Councillor Hope.
Yeah, look, I'd just like to say that we can raise a demand at the end of today that seeing these projects move forward. If you look at the extensive list of projects in there, you know, the Warra tennis courts, the Willow toilet block, the synthetic cricket pitches, and basketball courts, it's a credit to the staff that these things are actually moving and they're getting completed, and I think the community will be very chuffed to see all these projects come to fruition. So a big thank you to the staff involved to deliver report saying all these things are underway.
Thanks, Councillor Hope. I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Declare that carried. Okay, so there's no delegates' reports, and we'll move into notices of motion and questions with notice. There's no questions with notice or notice of motion. Read from the screen. So I'm going to read from the bottom. Okay, so the motion is, and me being the mover of the motion is that council table full documentation relating to the approval given by council to the owner of the property 30 New England Highway, 32 New England Highway, to remove 2 heritage trees on the 18th of the 9th, 2020 on land owned by LPSC. I move that.
Mr Mayor, could
I move the motion. I need a seconder first, Councillor Moss.
Mr Mayor, I'd just like to query where we're going with this because it's actually under confidential matters and we haven't moved into confidential.
No, we've changed it to.
And it's under item 9, it's got notice of motions nil. So have we moved that item into item 9 because it's still under 10.2 there. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
It's been moved into Councillor Miles,
Thank you, Mr Mayor.
and we need a mover and a seconder for that.
I'll second it, Mr Mayor.
Seconded Councillor Webster. We need another mover.
No, you moved it. You moved it.
So did you wish to speak to it, Councillor Webster?
Well, we'll only just, I think, it's obviously management's reply that we'll be asking for, and I really have the same concerns as a lot of the community regarding this, and I think if we can get the message through to the community where council stands and where the proponent stands, I think there'll be a lot more happier people in the community. Thank you.
I concur with that. So I'll put the motion, Councillor Miles?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I'd actually like to speak against it if I may. Mr Mayor, I understand the community's concerns, and I certainly understand where you're coming from by entering this motion. However, I think, as I read it, I can't get it up because it's in confidential and I'm too far behind. But somewhere in there you've asked for the DA information to be tabled. I'm just concerned about us crossing the line there as councillors, as how much of that information should be tabled at council. One, is it a council matter? 2, can it be resolved outside of this council meeting? And my third one, as I've said, is having that DA information, which is what you've requested, tabled before council. So I just want to say that I'm against that section of it. I understand your intent, and I support the fact that you put it in, but I can't support the motion at this stage due to that asking for the DA information. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Councillor Miles, I've not asked for the DA, I've asked for the... Yeah, well, I'd like to speak for it, if I may. I've not asked for the DA information, I've asked for the information on the trees on council property.
Councillor Evans? Sorry, Mr Mayor?
Yep.
Can I speak to it?
For or against, Councillor
Against. Look, I totally agree in what's trying to be achieved here, but I think the actual motion, in the way it's worded, exposes council to legal liability. We're asking to table full documentation of a private resident's information. I agree with the intent of what we're trying to do here, of finding out how this happened and why it happened. But I think the actual motion in itself leaves council, in my opinion, leaves council exposed to legal issues. That we're asking management to table individual staff reports and operational information in an open forum. That potentially, if the proponent was to take council to task on, would leave us at risk of ending up in court. So I think, in principle, I would like to see what we're trying to do here was to achieve how this happened and what happened. But I just think the motion's worded a bit ambiguously. Support in principle what you're trying to do, but I just think the motion's worded wrong and exposes council to an incredible risk of legal action. My personal opinion.
Any other speakers on the motion?
Just to say that we mentioned it earlier that we need to have some sort of an indication of which trees are have heritage value or whatever, because we don't have any. I know that the person who removed the trees had no idea that they were memorials to anything, and nor did many other people. And so, yeah, that's the reason that they've been taken down, apart, as well as the fact that the county council had ripped the tops out of the trees, and the opponent thought they were very ugly as they were, and I'm sure he's going to replace it. Thank you.
Is there any speakers for the motion?
Council, I'd like to flag an amendment to the motion if I could. I'd like to flag an amendment to the motion saying that council receive a report from the management on why and how this came about, to be tabled at council. Very simple, very basic, why and how it came about. And I think that would make me very comfortable.
I'd second that, Mr Mayor.
As the mover of the motion, I'll accept that amendment and put the motion to the floor.
Those in favour?
Those in favour? I'll declare it carried. Where's the next one? Go into confidential. I'd like to close the ordinary meeting and move into confidential.
So moved.
So seconded.
Move councillor Miles, second councillor Hope. Those in favour? Carried.